It's been an encouraging week for gun control advocates. In New York, the Supreme Court ruled that the state can continue enforcing a Democratic-backed law that bans guns from sensitive places like schools, playgrounds, and Times Square, while appeals work their way through the system. And in Illinois, the governor signed a law banning the sale and possession of military-style semi-automatic weapons. It will also require legal owners to register their assault rifles. Joining me is the founder of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, Shannon Watts, who's also celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the organization's work. Shannon, welcome in. What do you make of these latest developments? Do you think things are trending in a positive direction in this country?
Oh, absolutely. The gun safety movement is stronger than it's ever been. We are seeing the political power of our volunteers in state houses all across the country. We passed the first federal legislation in over 25 years this last summer. Our volunteers in their red shirts are relentless. And in Illinois, they've spent hours and hours in the State House day after day to get this life-saving gun safety package passed. And they were standing by the governor's side as he signed it into law. So, look, this work doesn't happen overnight. As you mentioned, we've been doing this for 10 years. But there's a playbook that we're working from, which is to work on this legislatively, electorally, and culturally. And in the state of Illinois, for example, we elected 16 of our own volunteers and survivors, including 10 to the State House. And this is how you make change happen, by really working on this issue holistically and at all levels of government.
Now, let's talk about Illinois specifically. At least 74 Illinois sheriff's departments are vowing to defy the state's assault weapons ban. What do you make of those who advocate for law and order and public safety refusing to follow the law?
I mean, it's absurd. They are putting politics above public safety. Sheriffs are law enforcement, right? They're not judges. They're not lawmakers. It's reckless for them to not do their job. And even Governor Pritzker has said that state police are responsible for law enforcement, and that, in fact, if they don't do their job, they won't have a job. The governor has been a huge advocate and a champion of this law. It is supported by people in Illinois, and I really hope that we will see state police and law enforcement follow the law of the land and fill the gap to keep these communities safe.
Now, over in New York, the case there that's kind of gone back and forth, it gets very complicated. But within that case, the most recent decisions, Justices Alito and Thomas attached a statement to their decision, which reads in part, applicants should not be deterred by today's order from again seeking relief if the Second Circuit Court does not. What do you make of the justices seeming to encourage gun control opponents to keep the fighting up despite this decision to allow this Democratic law to stay in place?
Well, look, the Supreme Court decision in Bruin last summer absolutely opened the door to gun extremism, but it did not close the door to gun safety. Gun laws save lives, and when a judge strikes down a gun law, they are putting our lives in danger. You know, most courts continue to uphold these important gun safety laws since the Bruin decision. And so, we will continue our fight to uphold these life-saving laws, to make sure we're electing people who nominate judges who will uphold these laws. It is the goal to keep people free from gun violence. And that is something that every lawmaker, every elected official, every appointed judge agrees on.
Let's talk about what's happening in Virginia. The latest on that 6-year-old Virginia boy accused of shooting his first-grade teacher. We learned this week that a school administrator was alerted to a possible weapon on the 6-year-old, and his bag was checked, but nothing was found. Now, your organization went to the Virginia State Capitol on Friday to advocate for stronger gun control laws. You were quoted as saying, quote, "We are tired of Governor Youngkin's thoughts and prayers without action. We need to hold lawmakers accountable when they fail to act." What are you calling on the governor to do?
Well, the governor is a lifelong NRA member who is running scared on this issue because he knows the vast majority of people in Virginia support gun safety. He refuses to take the NRA's endorsement. But unfortunately, he's not doing anything on this issue, right? He continues to offer thoughts and prayers, empty rhetoric. Let's be clear that this tragedy was a failure across the board. A 6-year-old should never be able to access a gun. And there's some really serious questions that need to be answered, right? About the school report that we saw, that this child may have had a gun, but was failed to be searched. I want to be clear that most gun owners are responsible. They store their guns responsibly, but the onus is on adults always to keep their guns locked, unloaded, and separate from ammunition. And so that is something that we can do culturally, but also legislatively.
And finally here, with the last few seconds we have, Newport News Police Chief described the incident as unprecedented, but the numbers that were analyzed by Washington Post for K-12 school shootings show that since 1999, in at least 11 cases, the person who pulled the trigger was no older than 10. And in fact, in Wichita, Kansas, police arrested a man and woman for child endangerment after their 2-year-old shot her mother in the foot. What are your final thoughts on this issue?
America is the only developed country where children get guns and shoot themselves or other people. It is senseless. It is preventable. It is stopped by something called secure storage, right? We can all agree that gun owners should keep their guns locked, unloaded, and separate from ammunition. This doesn't have to happen, and yet it happens over and over again. There are many states that have taken action and passed laws that protect children and make sure that adults securely store their guns. We could use this at a federal level, but in the meantime, moms demand action and students demand action. Volunteers will go state by state and make sure these laws are passed to protect all Americans.
Shannon Watts with us. Moms demand action for gun sense in America. Shannon, thank you.